All right. As you all know, I'm Olivia, and this is my transition speech. So I have two main personality points. I love to talk. I do a lot of it. Like, ask any of my teachers. I love to talk. It's something that happens consistently. And then the other one is running, and I also love to talk about running. So really, we can kind of combine them. They like to interface with the other. So this is me as a kid. I wasn't really a stunner as a kid, but I had personality, and we're gonna let it make up for it. So I loved the outdoors, and they made me very excited. In fact, I was very excited because at that point I was mimicking a turtle that I had seen. Is this one? Yeah, the turtle wasn't happy to see me. It was a snapping turtle, and it kind of charged me. I didn't really understand what was happening though. And then this tree has been cut down. I cried that day, actually, when it was cut down. And that's the day before it was cut down. And then I was with my grandfather there. And anyway, so this comes back to the talking point. When I was little, whenever I played cards, I used to announce my hands to everybody because I was just super excited about it. Now, I didn't really realize that this didn't make sense. I just wanted everyone to know. It kind of ties into now how I buy someone as a surprise present, and then I tell them. I'm like, oh, guess what? This is what it is. And so that is past me. So there are a couple people of influence here. That's Mike Johnson, and that's Gene Johnson. And Mike Johnson has a very, very bold personality. He was the track team captain. And he had a couple school records, but the issue is that as a track team captain, he decided that he would pee in a kid's locker. And the kid was racist and homophobic and was beating up this gay kid. And so my dad he took matters into his own hands and he peed in the locker. I don't know why he told me this story with pride, but he did. I mean, I guess there's some amount of pride there, but also not a good thing. So both my mom and my dad were whitewater kayakers when I was little, and a lot of my earliest memories are me sitting on the rocks, watching them go by, and I'm sitting with my aunt, and they're just kind of bounced up and down. I get really worried when they rolled. But then that gave him a back injury, and he had to give up running for the rest of his life. He can't run anymore. He used to run all the time with my mom, but by the time I was old enough to start running, he couldn't any longer. So that leads into my mom, who she's a distance runner, and she found her passion for it in college, and she always runs with me, even when it's 6 in the morning. And when it's 6 in the morning and I'm on a run, I try to close my eyes and pretend like I'm sleeping while I'm running, and this has never actually worked. I've gone over a few ditches, I've gone over a few mountainsides, a couple little cliffs, down some stairs, because I do trail running in the morning mostly, and I still thought this was a good idea. And I think she's kind of given up on stopping me because she realizes that someday I'll just figure out for myself it really wasn't a good idea. And I also like to rant while I run, so she gets the most of those. And she also put up with the idea of me running 13.1 miles at age 13. And to put that into perspective, me at age 13 weighed about 85 pounds. And so that was only 85 pounds I had to drag for 13.1 miles, but you also can only hold so much in 85 pounds. So it didn't really go very well. She had to carry little snacks in her pockets so I didn't die. And they really have inspired me to just love running, from my dad talking about his past, or from always watching my mom when I was little going on runs and finally being like, I want to run too. Although my mom said no because I had asthma. But I proved her wrong. She also said no because I had really bad feet, and she proved me right, as now I'm not running because I'm swimming because my feet are bad. So this is present me, and I'm sorry. I don't know why it did that. I put pretty much everything into cross country. I love running, and cross country is the best season, except I don't bring a watch, which really annoys Desiree. Although I think after 3 years, she's really given up on that. And so I love running. Like I said, I put everything into it, and I even love summer running. Whereas in the summer, when I was not working, I was running. It dominated my life completely. I hung out less with friends so I could go running. and I would run before work, and then I'd run after work, and sometimes I'd run both before and after work. And I would run with friends and my mom, and I completed 1,000 more minutes than the established goal. And so the problem with my obsession with running is that I put too much into running, and I decided I would look at food as a non-necessity, which, plot twist, it is. And so that leads me in to my last person of influence is Desiree. And she's helped me in many ways, but she was especially helpful with diet advice, and she was very influential on my running career, like not just as my coach, but past that, like I would go and talk to her and more. And so overall, my experience with this, like the issues that I developed from my obsession with running, is that I would like to help other people, and I want to pursue counseling, being a therapist as a career. And this is especially interesting to me with the recent Nike Oregon project scandal, where under the head coach, Alberto Salazar, like there were claims dating back to 2008 of him forcing his female athletes to lose weight, and the toxic culture that was ensuing from his head coaching program. And so that is American distance runner Mary Kane, and she was the fastest girl in America until she joined the Oregon Project, and then she ended up like skipping her period for 3 years under his head coaching. And so in November this year, she exposed the whole program, and since then Nike shut it down. And head coach Salazar denies all of these claims, even though there's like so much proof that that was true. And this toxic culture isn't just in the sporting world, it's way past that. I mean, it extends to modeling culture. And I would like to be able to help people who need it in more areas than just eating disorders. So I would like to specialize in behavioral/mental health therapy. So I would rather give back to the world than operate on a purely monetarily based mindset for the rest of my life. So while I would like to make enough to be comfortable, I also don't want to spend the rest of my life just driven by greed. And so making a difference in people's lives is a lot more important to me than making money. I'd like to make it enough to be comfortable though. So, and for possible next steps, I'd like to start by getting my bachelor's degree in psychology at either Smith, UNE, or Colorado College. And after that, I would look at master's degree programs in behavioral counseling. And even after you get a master's degree, you need 2,000 to 4,000 hours of supervised clinical experience. And after all of that, my ideal goal would be to open my own practice or work for like an institute where you're like the on-site counselor. Like there's only one person, but everyone goes to you. And so while I didn't have a chance to interview anyone, I did end up spending a good chunk of last night looking up interviews. And I came across a quote, the idea being that there are certain parts of the self that cannot be discovered, that cannot come into awareness unless they are being mirrored by another human being. And that was said by psychotherapist Alan Shore in an interview with Psychotherapy of America. And so I personally took that, you can look at that in many ways, but I personally took that to mean that if you're like not helped to see your own self and the issues that you might have, you might not ever see them. And this could be through a friend or a therapist. And so I would really like to be the person that allows people to fully know themselves in order to better themselves.
Questions for Olivia?
Yeah.
How do you think your passion for talking is going to help you in this in your career path?
Talking to people.
Yeah, but can you think of something more specific of how being able to talk more will be helpful?
Well, especially with interviews with colleges and stuff, I'm decently good at talking to people. Maybe not in front of a whole room of people, like one-on-one. It tends to go pretty well, and I think that could make a difference in acceptance and stuff into colleges, as well as then after just like working through, especially the 2,000 to 4,000 hours of supervised training. Obviously, it'd be good there when someone else is watching you work. Yeah, there.
Did those top colleges of yours like offer the major programs you're talking about?
Yeah, I went and looked into them.
Awesome.
And Smith is one of their most popular colleges, and it's also really known at UNE. And Colorado College is known for having basically good everything. Yeah.
So like how long would the 2,000 hours take? Like a year, 2 years?
It didn't say. I didn't really think about it, I guess, in that sense, even though I probably should have, because you can't do that in only 2,000 hours. You need time in between. Probably a couple of years. John?
Is that
Thank you, Cody. How far do you want to pursue your education before you like pick a career? Like you talked about like looking at like master's program
Yeah.
or whatever, but would you like want to become like a doctor?
Well, the thing with that is that most doctors they have like PhDs in psychiatry rather than psychology, and those are two different things. Like a psychiatrist is like a medical doctor, and they can prescribe stuff rather than, they're not just a therapist. Like you wouldn't just go to a psychiatrist unless you had some issues, like really bad. Emma?
What's like the average cost of like the bachelor programs you're interested in?
Smith it's $55,130 in tuition, and then when you add in room and board, it's $77,000 by the end. Yeah. Yeah.
What drew you to those specific colleges?
Smith actually, my mom went to Mount Holyoke, and Smith is kind of a rival, unfortunately. But when looking at colleges, I knew that I wanted to continue running, and I can't run D1. It's just a fact. It's not going to happen. I might be able to run for UMaine, but any of those like powerhouse schools, I could not go run for them. So I was looking at smaller liberal art colleges, which is also what I'm more drawn to in terms of pursuing my own education. I'd rather not go to a state school where everyone's just funneled into the same basic level bottom rung classes. And so anyway, I got a letter from the Smith cross country coach, and I started looking into there. And I've been looking at Mount Holyoke previously, but Smith just calls me more than Mount Holyoke, which my mom's kind of ticked off about, but that's fine. Yeah.
So could you explain the Oregon project thing just a little bit more?
Yeah.
I'm not sure
It's
I fully got that.
No, it's kind of complicated. So basically, the Oregon project is this distance runner, like it's like a group, and it's like very elite. And the head coach, Alberto Salazar, basically thought that if he could get his runners to continue losing weight, they'd go faster. And yeah, weight is correlated to running. Like you don't want to be obese because you're dragging around more weight, but there's also a stage at which you need the right amount of muscle and stuff. But he was like forcing them to like skip meals and stuff, put them on birth control that made them lose more weight. Mary Kane was talking in an interview about how she used to sneak power bars from her male co-athletes. She'd like teammates, she'd steal power bars from them and then go sneak them in their room because she couldn't even risk being like walking out of the power bar. And so anyway, there was also this this woman who came, she had a baby, and she came back and she hadn't lost all the baby weight yet, and he was horribly tactless about that, to say the least. He like put her on like a bunch of diets to lose the baby weight, which probably isn't good for the baby. So anyway, this was all exposed by Mary Kane, but then these other women came out and started talking about it as well.
And how might counseling help in a situation like that?
They said that they had like nutritionists on the team, but they didn't. They just had, I don't know, just random men that were like, oh, we're nutritionists, it's fine. And I think that a lot of those programs would benefit from not just like a nutritionist, but also like help, because I mean you're competing at like a level at which is very stressful, and in that case, it would be probably better to have like a therapist on the team as well as a nutritionist. John.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say about the organ project thing, and don't the runners when they join the thing have to like sign a contract or something? That's why they can't just leave, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's a little concerning that no one said anything until then. Especially since, like, they said that the claims have been dating back to 2008. You're looking at over 10 years.